I'm Morey White.
I guess I'm Bob Nelson.
I guess I'm Tracy White.
You guys don't know? I'm Ambassador Johnny Leckie, and this is the Compass Conversation Podcast.
I guess.
I think it is.
Is that their tagline?
I guess. We will follow you. You have the name above every name. We will follow you, King Jesus. Too late!
Oh,
To blame. Which
To
means
blame.
to bluff.
Who's the blow? Holy cow.
It was gambling, and he cheated.
Hey, be careful, we're going to get flagged for using copyrighted material.
Oh my goodness gracious. So,
Welcome to the podcast. You guys want to talk about that? We'll talk about that. We don't have to say how we're doing. Everybody's doing terrible. Let's jump in and talk about what we're grumpy about.
I'm doing okay.
No, just kidding.
Bob, we'll be leaving now.
We're going to start right here.
you're no longer welcome here.
Morey White. See? They're grumpy. Morey White, how are you tonight,
You're a
sir?
grumpy old man today.
Grumpy.
Grumpy. You know, yeah, sometimes it's one of those. And we'll leave it at that. A big old honking day.
That's the tagline.
Big old hunk.
I guess.
I guess. Oh, man.
That's all I got to say about that.
Well, I'm glad you're here, but
I do have to give a shout out to my boss, who said, "You need the podcast tonight."
Hey.
And I'm like, "Yep, I think I do, boss." So, thanks, Dave.
well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
Thanks,
Dave. Thanks, Dave, for getting Morey here tonight.
It's going to be a little confusing because, I mean, there's like probably a couple million different Daves that watch us. So,
At least.
You know who you are.
yeah. Thanks to all the Daves.
Thanks to all the Daves, yes.
The old hunking out of Dave's out there. All right, so yeah. Anyway, but I'm glad you're here.
Yep,
you
me
had a
too.
tough day, but I'm glad you're.
Yep.
We missed you last week.
Yep.
To your right, Bob Nelson, who's doing
Yeah.
great. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, it was despite taking a week off last week to fix up the bathroom, which had its own issues. It was a good day. I didn't have any big problems coming into work. And the only voicemail that was left was, "Your car warranty will be expiring soon." The very weird part is it was a spoofed number from a Hazelden construction. So I'm like, wow. So that was fun. But yeah, it was an easy day. Last week I got most of the bathroom done. The grout situation, I think it's going to correct itself. You didn't hear about this, so we bought gray grout to be very universal, right? I open up the grout bucket and it's blue, and I'm like, well, maybe it'll cure gray.
It turns.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it has kinda, but it's still really blue, and I'm
Well, so
not excited.
Of course, the biggest indicator of whether or not you're going to have to redo it or not is joy.
Yes, so it matches our walls, which that was the color that we already had in there. It was my choice, kind of a blue-gray color, really, manly. So because she's got the purple bathroom, the other bathroom is her decoration thing. So yeah,
There's a throne in there.
Yeah, exactly. So
Royalty.
So anyway, and I'm totally fine with it. I don't care what the next owners have to do with it. It doesn't bother me. But yes, Joy, she's a little more specific about it. So I'm really worried.
That's funny.
There's not much I fear in this
So
world.
at the moment, it's
Grout and Joy would be one.
Grout
One of
and
those
Joy.
things.
It's like the worst dishwashing detergent ever.
I do have one question, though.
Mhm.
Did you renew your warranty?
Maybe we're looking into it.
There's the thing, we got two other calls later today, and I'm like, why? Why are these people calling me about my car warranty that, on my
Because it's about to expire.
2005 Honda? So,
How do they know? That's one of the questions I asked, is which car?
I have to answer the phone to actually, get that far. Yeah, but I'm like every other Gen Xer at this point, I dodge every phone call I can. So I don't recognize the number. Hang up. But yeah, and the other thing is I will not say BO because
That's only
you
2/3.
guys have been, exactly, but you guys have been saying it a lot, and it seems to be sticking. That curse that you said, if you say it twice in one day, it sticks
What
for the
is
rest
it?
of your life.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You'll say it later.
What?
I'll point it out.
What is it? Can you spell that out for me? Ellie?
BO, body odor? What are you saying?
Exactly, body odor.
Right?
Oh.
What?
And you've already said this magic word phrase once,
See?
so you don't want to say it twice.
Exactly.
Listen,
So
whenever
you don't
this goes
start
up,
saying it a lot, because that is a big old problem.
Exactly.
and I'm pretty sure that the headline, or not the tagline is going to be big old, so might as
I
well
guess.
just get comfortable with it.
Nope.
Just saying.
Nope.
Oh my goodness. Well, Bob, I'm glad that you're here.
Yes, sir.
We'll try to avoid the 2/3 of you.
Oh no! Yeah, feel free to say it as much as you want. I'm just not going to.
You're just kidding. No worries. All right, to your right is the grumpy but lovable Tracy White. How are you, sir?
Slightly less aged grumpy than this guy over here.
That's aged.
That's right, slightly less. 15
Okay.
months
I'm
less.
still a grumpy old man. Just
Slightly
you're
less.
a grumpy older, like a big old. Oh my goodness! So we got up early today because Kathy was supposed to have a couple extra kids with drop-ins, and then they canceled last minute. But we were up early anyway, so I started at 7. Work from home, so there's no commute. I don't take a lunch break. I take about 10 minutes to a 10-minute break, and that's when I eat lunch. And had time at the end of the day to go in and cook,
That's nice.
and then eat in time for Bob to show up. We were
Okay.
just wrapping up when you showed up, and it was a very busy day and very personally challenging. I biggest pet peeve of mine in work is micromanagement, and when somebody else that has nothing to do with my team wants to manage our hours, I'm like, no, I'll do that part. That's my job, So anyway, I was very, very frustrated today. Very much need this. It's already helping, and I really appreciate you guys being here.
I'm just imagining you as one of the 7 dwarves right now. They're grumpy.
With a big old beard.
Wait a minute. I just need a pointy hat.
Did they all have pointy hats? Were they big old pointy hats?
They were
They weren't that.
whistle while you work. Where's your whistle at?
But,
That's frustrating, man. Yeah, I hate that too.
Just think of that Metallica song, "Oh Wheel."
Man, that
Yes.
Metallica, they have a big old sound, don't they?
Big old.
It makes me think of
Metallica.
It's large and sort of aged.
Yes.
Very aged. Yes.
anyway, it makes me think of the old ebook I wrote years ago, shared with you guys, right? 31 Refutably Irrefutable Laws of Labor Leadership.
I use that in Air Force leadership.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that.
They
Makes me
love it.
happy.
Yeah.
There's the law of the murky micromanage is one of the laws, which is different sort of, you're on the receiving end of a micromanage, but it's when a leader, they delegate something, but then keep doing it anyway.
Oh yeah.
So that's the murky micromanage, because it's like, I just gave it to you, but I'm still going to do it. And so the picture for that one, I got Melissa to sit in the car, put her hands on the wheel, and then I had Matthew reach around and put his hands on top of the wheel. That took the picture for
No,
me.
I mean, that's very much this situation. It's like, hey, can you provide me with your plan for the rest of the time and how many hours that you need to finish that up? Yep, here you go. no, here you go. And I was like, what?
Whoa.
No.
Why do they keep calling you Hugo? I don't get that.
Anyway, I got a big old problem with it. I'm working through it. And meeting tomorrow about that. Johnny, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Hugo.
You go.
Big old trouble.
Big old you go.
Oh,
That was a little young thing.
Little young thing. That's what it's not. Big old. It's little young.
Dale Young.
I guess old is sort of an abbreviated old, I guess. How am I? Well, what a deep question. How am I in my soul? No, I'm fine actually. This is the first Monday back after a spring break, right? So there's that kind of foggy. Yeah, I had to go back in today. But yeah, no, it was all fine. I mean, it's Monday. It's the first day back after spring break. And there was the threat of snow. We thought maybe we might squeak out one more, but no, obviously not even kind of. And the kids I work with, whenever we kind of hope, hey, maybe so-and-so won't be here today, that's never a thing. They're always there. Parents are so happy to get them. Mm-hmm. I've had them for a week. They're going on the bus, they're going to be there. But today started fourth quarter, so we're here at the end of the school year. I can't believe it.
Wow.
But it just means that a couple of these kids, because I work with autistic kids, for those who do not know, and so we're working a little harder on putting them into Gen Ed a little bit more. And so my role today was I got to accompany one of our kids to a couple of different settings with Gen Ed. Mm-hmm. And this has always been the case for as long as I've worked with these guys. I get to know them so well. I know their quirks. I know, what makes them tick sometimes. And, I grow to get at them, and then they almost become like my kids, because I just love them. So even when we get on out for recess and there's Gen Ed kids out there, I'm always kind of watching, it's almost like a parent watching from the side. So, I just want them to do well. Don't be socially awkward. Oh, that's right, you don't speak. I guess that's socially awkward. Anyway, so this one girl, though, she has they all have these different kind of funny tics. There's one kid, he just kind of comes in and the siren whine begins. And after a while, I'm just like, stop that! It's like, oh my gosh, you gotta stop. Well, there's a girl, one of her kind of tics is she'll start going, right? She'll go to the bathroom. You almost done in there? Are you done? It's time to come out. Well, anyway, so I accompanied her to art today with fifth graders, Gen Ed population. And the fifth graders at Arkansas Elementary School are actually pretty good kids. I mean, so we're sitting there, and Mr. Iyer is giving the instruction. I'm sitting here with my old friend, and yeah, dead silence. They're all listening carefully and intently, and then to cut into the night. Stop that. Quiet mouth, quiet mouth. Now, the great thing was she responded quickly. That's part of why we wanted her in there, too. Because they're like, well, what the heck is going on? But it was so weird because, I'm feeling it because I'm kind of like there as her helper, right? Nobody else, anyway. All eyes. It was like Steven! Oh, man!
I knew that was going to come up.
Oh, well. But
I almost yelled it out on Sunday just because.
just for no reason at all.
Yeah.
Don't even talk about anything related to damn it!
You were talking about first day back from spring break.
Yeah.
So I was on the phone with my boss, which I seem to be on a call with him a lot lately.
Yeah.
No, this was good. It's fine sometimes. But he's watching on me. It's always fun, Dave. Always fun.
I guess.
I guess. But all of a sudden I get this phone call and my cell phone starts ringing. When I say I was on a call with my boss, it was through the computer.
Yeah.
Right.
So my cell phone, and I'm like, Dave, hold on, it's Julie. So I answer the phone real quick, and she's like, quick, I just sent you a code, or sent a code, had a code sent to your email. I need you to give me that code. And then I check my email, and I see that it's Discovery Plus. Apparently they're doing indoor recess, and she was in a panic.
Oh!
I need the code to Disney Plus.
Yep.
Yeah, indoor recess, that was a thing today too.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, I thought you'd find that
Yeah,
entertaining.
yes indeed. Yes. Yeah, it's a bummer, man, when it's indoor recess. They need it. They need recess. Even if it's 15 minutes, they need recess. Outside.
Fun
around.
fact, we need recess too, even as adults. It's a good thing to get out in midday and move around a good bit and, you know.
This is kind of our indoor recess.
Well, I mean, you don't need to do a whole, like, you don't need like a big old playground or anything like that.
I just need a little young dog.
That's right.
Well, actually, Sasha's kind of middle-aged at this point, but
This epidemic is growing. It's becoming a big old thing.
I keep a guitar and the bass right there. So, yeah. That's
What,
my reasons.
I plan on, you know, there's 2 couches in there. I want to get rid of one of them and set the smaller E-kit up in there.
Oh, so you
I
can
can
just-
That'd be nice.
yeah. Anyway,
All right, anyhow.
beside the point.
It's okay. It's all right. Well, you guys ready to talk about the weekend anymore? Like we haven't already, sort of.
Steven!
You have to find it in like point 2. Middle of point 2. Go back and watch the message, you'll understand. Yeah. What happened this weekend?
There was church.
We had church, didn't we?
We not only did we have church, we had church. Man, a lot of people
Yeah, it was a full
showed
house.
up. It was
It was
great.
It was great.
Bob had to seek out an empty chair somewhere and to,
Did you?
to help accommodate. I mean, there was other chairs up front, but
Yeah.
to avoid having to get up front and everybody, he took one from the back
Brought them
row.
around to the back.
Yeah.
Wait, there was a big old bang at the door.
Yeah. What was that big old bang?
We think it was somebody outside,
Yeah.
on the other side, because the way it was hitting was almost like a ball hitting.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
My guess is somebody was just, pounding on the door trying to, possibly get in, but more than likely just cause a disturbance.
Yeah.
So,
There were various people outside on the fields
Yeah.
yesterday
it
during the
was
service.
so nice yesterday.
They might have just been wanting to get in, like to use the bathroom or something.
Maybe.
Trying to get our attention.
It's possible.
Oh well.
Yeah.
We do, for occasions like that though, because our doorbell stopped working, we do need to find a better solution for that, because we do have to maintain
The security,
a locked door.
Yeah.
during-
Probably nice
This was
still
30
get texts.
Like I said, it was a full 30 minutes in, so I mean, it's not like
Yeah, no, yeah.
hardly anybody was coming in to join us, but you still get texts.
Yeah, we still get text in the building, so you are always welcome to put our numbers. Julie,
Yeah,
especially
she
if
was
she's on the.
suggesting that as a possibility.
Yeah, she's on the
to be able
network.
To see see who's at the door, and just see if somebody comes up to the door, just let them in.
Yeah, I know I'd do that, except I get really spotty reception right there in the makerspace, so it's,
Julie said you
Yeah,
can put her
okay.
number on there if you want people to text. Let me in.
Or, and the Facebook, go to here and
Oh,
post it on our live feed.
Oh, yeah, you could do that. Leave a comment.
We'd have to pay a little
Outside
closer
the door.
attention to it.
Yeah.
Well, and again, that little blurb with the video thing Sunday morning was very weird. Here's why I'm working now to just not have any stock, even though we have every right to use. Just take everything else because I don't want the disruption in the middle of the service.
Sure, yeah, that's
So, anyway, we'll see. I made a brand new and it looks better anyway. It's all completely original footage. So, there's no footage. So I'm going to try this Sunday with the stock music and see if that causes an issue. It's least likely for it to be flagged in that way by anybody. Because usually they're just trying to grab stock video and stuff. if that flexible, well, we could do that too.
Sure.
We create all of our own anything.
Was it the same one?
It was not.
Same source,
No.
different source. Huh?
Yeah, it was completely different. In fact, they blocked it in 293 countries.
Wow.
So that is why we had someone, actually, Mark, sent a message, and this is something we missed in the service. It was like, is there no online church today?
Oh.
So yeah, so I got back to them on that. But those first few minutes, that's why we got to come back. That's why I was saying.
Yep.
The sooner we're back on, the better.
Yep.
But yeah, that's just a weird thing. Whoever it is, they didn't even. Usually, when they say that's our copyrighted video, or it contains 5 seconds of our copyrighted video, which isn't their copyrighted video. But anyway, if they say so, then I can see exactly which one they're talking about. So if I had multiple stock clips that were all free and available to use, I know exactly which one they're talking about. Well, on this one, they just blocked us, whoever they were. I forgot, it was like a 3-letter name. And again, when I clicked to find more details, it's like blocked in 292 countries.
Wow.
Like, come on. So totally ridiculous.
The only other thing I can think of is on our on the post, say all images and music are used by permission,
Yeah,
royalty-free use by permission.
It won't make a difference with these guys.
I don't know.
It's the algorithm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's not picking up the.
And it's a shame that Facebook doesn't have a mechanism in place to mitigate that on the front end.
you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This got dark really quick.
Well, that's because Facebook isn't the product.
That's right.
We are.
We are the
We are the product.
Yeah, that's so true. So anyway, it's not that big of a deal, but it's just kind of starting to get annoying now.
Yeah.
So we'll try this with all of our original stuff. But like I said, there still might be somebody that says, that's my copyrighted video. No, it isn't. I made it this afternoon. It's
I
like,
think we should put a disclaimer. But
no. Well, we certainly have, for the other things on it, we'll just add another line.
just
All
all video copyright Compass Church 2022.
There you go.
There you go.
All
It
right.
certainly wouldn't hurt. Let's just add it to the list of stuff. Anyway,
You preached on Sunday.
I'd heard that I did.
Wait, before that, there were like a lot of kids.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was so
yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yes, and it was hilarious when they came marching back in
Yeah.
after. It was kind of like that scene in Lord of the Rings when they're waiting for them, and then they all come rushing in. Yeah, I loved it. That was just fantastic.
And their crafts. They made little monsters.
They made little monsters. I know, it's a little iffy, but I kind of like the idea behind it.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yes, yeah, you also
And families.
Yeah.
But back to that real quick though, it was nice to see because there were a couple of people I could count that weren't there, and it's pretty nice as a non-Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
To have a pretty good group of people there, and it gave us a chance to kind of look around and go, hey, look, this is kind of us right now.
Yeah. I like it.
So I love
great.
that a lot. Yeah. So if it's like if each of us all had one other person join us, if each individual, we double the next week.
Yes, we would.
If only it worked that way.
Yeah.
You can invite
They
100
tell
people.
two friends, and so on.
And so on.
And so on.
All right, I'll see
Still we're
you.
giving away shampoo. Wait, no, sorry. Yes, okay, right. So I did preach on Sunday, and we can talk about that if you want.
Yeah, we
Wrapped up the marriage.
You got it. I mentioned it though to you afterwards, didn't I?
What?
That I wrapped up that was the end of the series. I never really said.
Right.
But yeah, that was it. We're putting a capper on that one as of Sunday.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. I think there's just glancing around. I think there's seeing head nods and stuff. There's some good positive feedback on just kind of nonverbal feedback that I've been catching. That I think you're hitting hitting the nail on the head.
I'm really glad to hear it. It's good to be able to talk about those things and do so with some grace, and some love. And as I'm speaking, to notice, about halfway through the message, a spouse reach over and grab their spouse's hand, I'm thinking, that's good. That's a beautiful thing.
and you saw that. And there were certain points that were not necessarily positive points that I saw people look and go,
But
being married by the Elvis impersonator.
well, that's when Julie and I looked at each other. No,
Elvis impersonator.
actually, it was Dad.
No, I'm very glad that everything is wrapped in that grace. And because if it weren't, we'd be so screwed. Honestly, with our pasts and everything, there's just anyway. So that was very, very good.
I'm really, really glad to hear that. I prayed a lot about this series, and I've heard many marriage series that didn't have that, and it's rough if you're on the end of that where you've blown it, and you're not hearing anything about. There's restoration, there's grace, we're all kind of in this together. It can be a tough kind of service, and I've been in those kind of environments, so I tried hard to.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that actually worked in that way.
And every time I see guardrails, I pray for our marriage.
Yeah, that's a good way to mess you up, though. Every now I'm starting to notice them even more too. I was like, oh. And it reminds me to pray for my spouse.
Well, you said at the very beginning, every time you start, you have a little disagreement with Leona. So I'm curious, how many of the rest of us did during the series?
What, bro?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we all have disagreements, but
Yeah, never.
you talk about great. Kathy is very gracious. I can be in the worst mood and go back in I choose the wrong words to say to her, and she'll be like, "You all right?"
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh man. But you're right, Morey. I mean, almost every single time I preach on relationships or whatever, Leo and I get into some kind of fight. And the worst is when it happens on like Saturday night.
Oh my goodness.
But the really worst is if it happens before we leave that morning. That hasn't happened in a very long time. And this one I'm trying to think. I don't think we did. I think the last kind of brouhaha we had was significant enough that it kind of
Gotcha.
made us have some pause. By us, I mean mostly me. But anyway, yeah. But that always happens for sure.
Well, that happens often, well, I say often, that's wrong. But we have, Julie and I have a disagreement, and after serious reflection, I do realize it was me. So I'm working on myself still.
Yeah, that's good. That's one of the.
But that's what I learned.
There you go. Work on yourself more than your spouse.
That is the hardest of all. But it's probably
And she has the grace to allow me to work on myself.
Yeah, that's good.
Keep practicing.
Keep going.
You're getting there. That's what the ladies say to us. You're getting there. Keep working on it.
I just think stress can get you sometimes, and that's what it was. It was a stress thing.
That's almost always the case in my world, by the way. Whenever we have something, it's a like death by 1,000 cuts.
Yes.
And it all somewhere just and we end up blowing up at the person we love the most. And,
Right.
And that's how that often happens. So.
Well, and our wives listen to us. That's who we go to when we have an issue. They're our besties.
Yeah.
So when we have issues, that's where we go.
Besties.
Oh, they are our besties. They're best friends. Best friends forever. Something that I thought was really cool is you talked about covenants versus contract.
Yeah.
And then I was talking about in the Old Testament, every time they would make a covenant, they'd stack stones
Yeah.
or build an altar
Yeah.
or something like that, so future generations would remember and
Right.
Raise their Ebenezer.
Yes.
yes, raise their Eben. Poor we're sad about that. But yeah, I mean, that's the importance that they wanted future generations to even know
Yeah.
that you made that promise.
Yeah.
So that's how important that word.
Well, I was going to say, that is why I kept kind of coming back to it, because I know in our day and age and in our culture, it's not thought of necessarily in this way. And so I did come down a little hard, but I did it intentionally, like I said, hopefully with some softening the edges a little.
I tried a covenant with a plumber once, and it just didn't work.
It's not a sacred promise.
Yeah, he was less sacred than I thought he was.
That's fun.
Just a contract then.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, what else about yesterday or the message?
I'm trying to remember what those final couple of guardrails.
So
how those were.
the one that is the final one is making sure that your first priority is God and then
Yes.
your spouse.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the name how that.
Well, the absolute last one was actually give your spouse freedom to fail.
Right.
Oh,
That's
Okay,
it.
yeah,
So-
that's right. You were wrapping up the other one.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So I'll start there because the one of the things that it sticks out on that one is no matter what kind of a relationship you're in or whatever you're doing, if you're starting with God, then everything else works out.
Yeah.
And when you look at love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength, and all your mind, and then the second commandment is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. Who's your closest neighbor? Your spouse.
Yeah,
That's right. And so yeah, and I was reminded a couple weeks ago, I was listening to a podcast about a very interesting marriage. A man and a woman, that wasn't it, but they had some interesting ties to it. And they wrote a book called The Impossible Marriage. And because their marriage really was impossible. But when God got involved, it became very possible. And their point with the book is, we're using us as an extreme, but every marriage is kind of impossible unless you bring God into it.
Right.
And you'll have secular people. I've got a great marriage. We're atheists. We don't believe in God, but we've got a great marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the marriage God intended without Him involved.
That's true. Yeah. It would be so much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, imagine, you got a great marriage. What would happen if?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was also mentioning, I just was thinking of this, and you guys just keep jumping in with anything here. I don't know how much time we have, Tracy, but
9 minutes.
doggone it. I was going to say on a tangent, particularly, I was trying to just throw out a bone to those who are not married yet, and they are. And I'm not sure I communicated well, so again, I'm always thankful for a Monday. Not that necessarily they're listening to this, but just to clarify a little bit more.
All the Daves out there.
All the names are listening. Anyhow, it's this idea that, and this is true for all of us in every context, actually, is that sometimes we're not receiving the blessing that God wants us to because we are not where we're supposed to be.
Right.
Now, I don't want to stretch that so much to say that, that I'm so far outside God can't find me, or to make it too extreme. But the idea is that I know of some guys out there, and they're not finding a godly girl, and it's because they're never around any.
Right.
And they're not being godly. And they're always in places where a godly girl would never meet them or want to be there.
Yeah, Scott.
We don't know who you
You are
are.
Scott, but we're praying for you tonight. Okay, no, but I mean,
That's a long lost brother of ours.
We
well,
love you, man.
Yeah, we do.
well,
Of course we do.
what I was going to say is, it's the case with some guys. It's the case with some girls I know, and that's true in many aspects of our life where we keep banging our head against the wall. Well, I'm not seeing God work in my life. It's like, well, it's because you're not obeying Him, right?
Yeah.
You're putting you before Him, and so that's what I was trying to say. And not to slam anybody just because they're not being blessed.
Right.
Sometimes we're not. That's not. A relationship's not happening because God doesn't want us to be in that right now. Right? He still wants to do some more work in us. So maybe I'll speak to that a little bit more later, but I didn't want to throw it out there anyhow. That is often a case. I had a few people in my mind that may or may not be able to hear that message that specifically I was thinking of in that regard, so. Anywho.
Kind of going in line with that, there might be that one or more people, some Dave out there that's listening, that's in a relationship like that,
Or Scott.
where he's Dave or Scott, and where he's and he or she is in a place that isn't
Sorry.
that isn't where they're supposed to be, but both of them are starting to recognize it, and God can redeem that. I mean, that's what he did. That's what he did with Joy and me. I was not a believer, I don't want to say as anti-Christian as I could get, but I was working to be as far away from God as I could, and then she falls into my life, and God starts working on my heart, So, and that said, there's still a lot of trauma from that. So, we've had a lot of obstacles and baggage to bring in, both of us on that side.
Yeah.
Where neither of us are alone in the luggage rack. So, but yeah,
it's beautiful though how God can do that. But good to say that. It's not the best route, but He can pick you up from whatever route you're on, right?
Yeah. Bring back to this one. I don't recommend how I got into a relationship with Joy. It's not a wise idea. If you're a Christian, go out and look for the non-Christian. Don't do it.
Missionary dating is seldom a good idea.
Not a good idea.
Yeah.
Just because there's a couple of successes.
So, go ahead.
Well, I mean, Kathy was the same. She wasn't a non-believer, but she wasn't a Christian when we met. So less struggle, I think, than what y'all went through, but similar, I guess, thematically.
Like you said, you begin to get things in line, and God begins to orient things around you in the right way. So wherever you are, in fact, usually in these kind of messages, I will say something along the lines of, the marriage you are in today, right? The marriage you are in right now,
Yes.
you can start right now. You can rebuild, repair that foundation that maybe was not there before.
You can have the $6 million marriage.
That's
You
right.
can build it better. Stronger.
We may sway and we may creak.
Yeah, you did.
That's right.
You did. You did talk about the characteristics of love. Patience, kindness, gentleness, not boasting, and so forth. You
I love how Jake, when you said, and love is.
He started in first grade.
It's like, I knew you were going for a generous. Go, Jake.
I should have made him keep quoting. I'm sorry.
But I mean, it's really, you start looking at that, and it's all about that grace.
Yeah.
It's all about giving.
Yeah.
And we have the perfect example.
Yes, we
The
did.
perfect example. Big old
Demonstrated his
love.
That's a big old verse.
Big old love. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whoever believes in Him will not perish but have eternal life.
Amen to that.
I'd ask that you read it. Read it again. Pray on it. Then act on it.
There you go.
That
There you go.
Yes,
that
sir.
is large
Thank you
and
for
ancient
sharing that.
wisdom.
Yes, that is large and ancient. Oh, man.
A big old truth shared with us.
That's right.
Big old wisdom. Brothers laying it on us.
I think we're near the big old end.
We are.
All right, so just say we meet every Sunday somewhere in the world, but we're always online. You can find us on Facebook by searching for Compass Church Colorado, and you can discover more at compassdenver.com. We'd love to have you as our guest this Sunday. All right, guys, final words.
Love you guys. Big old love you to everyone out there.
I'm going to do it. Big old likewise.
Big old peace.
Big old grace and peace to you. That's all we have for tonight, and we are big old out.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
I'm doomed now.
That's twice.
Down the rabbit hole.
Twice you've said.